The brand new Chase Sapphire Reserve just came out and it comes with so many cashback features, coupons, as well as point multipliers. We're gonna break down in this video what are the best features and what are the absolute worst features so that you know how to optimize it to get the most value back if you decide to get this card or if you're getting the brand new refresh version if you already hold it. We're gonna break down all these different features tier list styles, so let's hop right into it. We can see all the different features that they break down on travel, dining experiences, lifestyle, and shopping. We're gonna start with the reserve travel section. And the first feature we're gonna rank is the 8 times points back on travel through the travel portal on flights, hotels, rental cars, cruises, activities, and tours. Some of them have been enhanced and some of them have been reduced in value. For example, the flights have been increased from 5 times points back to 8 times points back, but the hotels, rental cars, and cruises have been dropped from 10x to 8x. So on this first ranking list, we're gonna put the 8 times back in the portal in the B category. The next point multiplier we're gonna look at within the travel section is the 4 times points back when you book directly with an airline or hotel. This one is a little controversial because there used to be an overall catch-all bucket of 3x points back on a broad travel category. So that included things like Ubers, Lyfts, parking, tolls, etc. But now they've gotten rid of that catch-all category for the 3x back on all travel, and they've increased it to 4x, but just when you book with an airline or hotel. I don't think this does enough to counteract the loss of the 3x points back, so we're gonna go ahead and put the 4 points back on the direct bookings with airlines and hotels in the C category, just because I don't think it moves the needle enough. The next travel bucket that we're gonna rank is the $500 credit annually in prepaid, such as a $100 property credit, daily breakfast for 2, and a potential room upgrade. If we scroll down on the page, we see there are a few points that are included in the fine print, which shows that it's broken down in a $250 statement credit between January and June, and then another one from July to December. They're in prepaid bookings with 2-night minimums, and you do get another batch of credits and cash back when you stay at the edit, such as a $100 property credit, daily breakfast for 2, and a potential room upgrade if there's availability. However, these hotels, while they are very nice, they tend to be a little bit more expensive. And so are you really gonna be normally staying at these places when you can book direct through Hyatt by transferring your Chase points to Hyatt and get some really, really good redemption in cent per point? I'm not sure. However, maybe you'll be able to use one of these $250 credits per year, maybe not the second. I wouldn't value it the whole thing, and it really feels like a Hail Mary attempt to compete with the Amex version of this. I don't think it really chips into the annual fee that effectively, and it kind of feels like you have to go out of your way to use this credit. So for that reason, I'm gonna go ahead and put it down in the D section on this list. The last travel category bucket here is the $300 annual credit towards travel purchases. This is what used to already exist on the old Sapphire Reserve card, and it is absolutely top notch. It is so flexible. You can use it all in one go. It's not split into some monthly or biannually credit. No, you can use it once and you're done. And this covers things like airlines, hotels, car rentals, anything you want really in the travel category. So for that reason, even though it already existed in the past, we're gonna go ahead and put that $300 very flexible travel credit into the S tier category. So now that we've finished ranking the overall travel section, make sure you go ahead and comment below if you agree or disagree with these rankings so far, and maybe even like and subscribe as we continue on. Next up, we're gonna look at the points boost. And this is a new feature that Chase is rolling out with the Sapphire Reserve, which allows you to get up to 2 times points back in the travel portal on select flights, hotels, and the edit. This is a major step back in my opinion. The old Chase Sapphire Reserve allowed you to redeem your points for 1.5 cents per point in the travel portal, and you really got good value within the portal for very basic domestic type flights and budget hotel redemptions. Now, this 2x point back, it's only on select bookings. It's on top hotels and resorts, as well as premium cabin airfare. These are redemptions that are already inherently very, very expensive. If you were to be booking these business class and first class flights using your points and transferring them to partners, you'd be getting much more value than 2 cents per point on those redemptions if you're doing it right. So with that, from what I understand at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and put the points boost in the D tier category, just because I don't think it's really gonna move the needle, and it's only for those targeted high redemption, high cost bookings that aren't really that applicable to that many people through a portal. But as we can see, Chase is really trying to push travel through the portal, and we'll see how it goes. Next up, the feature that is very, very powerful, and that's their Chase Sapphire Reserve Lounge Network. What's huge on this is they're keeping their access to 2 guests and allowing access to 1,300 priority pass lounges with those extra guests. So this is really big in the world where now premium travel credit cards are cutting back on the access with guests. And for Chase to continue to allow this and enable this is really kind of an unmet need, really strategic play for them to be able to maintain this advantage when other cards are cutting it back. So for them to keep the existing lounge access and allowing 2 guests to go in, I'm gonna go ahead and put that in A tier. If you're someone who travels very often with a significant other or with groups of people or with friends or kids, maybe this moves up to the S tier. However, in my case, I don't really travel that often with people. I'm more of a solo traveler when I'm going places and meeting up with people. So for me, I'm putting it in A. This could very well likely move up to the S, or if you don't have any lounges near you, maybe it'll move down to a B. But I'm gonna go ahead and put it as an average of an A, because it's really interesting that they're keeping this, and it seems like a very intentional choice. Here's one that's really controversial, and that's the Reserve Travel Designer section. They're enabling you to have access to basically these travel designers, which sound like very luxurious trip and travel advisors. And they're specifically marketing it for things like wildlife encounters, private charters, city adventures. And they're talking and trying to claim that it's a $300 value per trip. This seems very artificial and very fake to me, just trying to show that it's something that cuts into the value of this new $795 fee. I'll be interested to see if any of you out there are someone who uses it or takes advantage of it. You'll have to let me know. But I'm gonna go ahead and put it down here in the D category just because it seems very fake in terms of trying to assign a value to it. $300 per trip, you can just make that up. $200, $500, they're just claiming something. I don't think it really cuts into the effective annual fee. Maybe it's a cool feature. I don't think I would value it at $300 per trip. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that down as a D. All right, into our next section, we're talking elevated status, comfort upgraded with premium hotel reward status. And this is for the IHG One rewards. You're getting platinum elite status for being a cardholder. And one thing to note that this isn't IHG's premium and highest value of status. So I don't know about you, but IHG isn't usually my go-to pick, but let me know down in the comments if you had some really good redemptions or stays with IHG around the world. But in my case, I'm gonna go ahead and put this as a C ranked category for IHG. If it was something like premium Hyatt status, I think that would really move up the ladder a lot. But in my case, I'm gonna go ahead and put it at C. We're gonna skip ahead a little and go to the lifestyle section, which are the beefy credits overall for this new card. So in this section, looking at the Apple TV and Apple Music, it's worth $250 annually for free memberships for both of these streaming and music services. With this Apple credit, I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the C category as well, just because depending on if you use Apple Music or Spotify, that may determine whether or not you're getting value from this or already paying for it. And then Apple TV, I don't personally have, so I'm gonna put it as a C rating. With the $420 DoorDash credit annually, you're getting $25 a month for $300 total a year, with $5 monthly promos to spend on restaurant orders, 2 $10 promos each month to save on groceries, retail orders, and more. And then you're also getting the DoorDash Dash Pass membership worth $120 annually. This is kind of continuing in the very standard path of DoorDash or Uber Eats credit and redemptions with both Amex and now Chase. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the B category because this isn't something I normally pay for in takeout or food delivery. However, if it is something that you're running late or you're just getting back from a trip and you have no food, I can see that there's some value here occasionally in having DoorDash, but I wouldn't put it as A or S because this isn't something that I'm paying for organically in my budget. Next up, we're looking at Lyft, which is $120 a year and 5x points back on Lyft rides. You're getting credits at $10 a month, which is a little bit of a nickel and diming sort of situation, and really wish it could be bigger, bulkier credits instead of having to remember to use it every single month. So I'm gonna put both the 5x points back on Lyft and the $120 Lyft credit in the B category. I think if this were higher, at say 7x points back on Lyft, this would be more A or S, but the $120, because it's $10 a month, I find myself taking at least one rideshare ride a month. And so I feel like this is pretty easy to get value of. This would be a little bit more elevated if there wasn't this nickel and diming approach and it was just $120 a year and you got to kind of crank through that. Next up, we have Peleton, which is 10x points back and $120 annual credit towards Peleton memberships, including all access membership, App One, App Plus Guide, or Strength Plus. A lot to say there. Being that I do not have a Peleton and I don't actually know that many people in my circles that do or take advantage of this, I'm gonna go ahead and put this down in the D category just because I wouldn't value this whatsoever on the annual fee of this card. The last credit here is around a $300 annual credit for StubHub, which is broken out into two $150 statement credits through first 6 months of the year, January to June, and then July to December. I find myself personally going to a number of sporting events per year, as well as those around me, and I feel like most people are going to some sporting event, concert, comedy show, some sort of live show at least once or twice throughout the year. Because of the ease of use, I think, for this credit, I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the A tier, and I think most people are gonna be able to actually use this, at least partially. Next, we're gonna look at the dining section, which is 3x points back on all purchases at restaurants and dining, including eligible delivery, and you're coming with $300 annually in statement credits when you dine with Sapphire Reserve exclusive tables. These credits come at $150 for the first 6 months of the year and $150 for the second 6 months of the year, kind of a common theme we're seeing here with the Sapphire Reserve. You can see that there are a number of different restaurants that you book through OpenTable to be able to get reservations and use these credits. So they seem to be in major cities, and so if you don't have any of them near you, it may not be very valuable. However, that 3x back on points on dining is still being maintained from the original card and still has some value there. But a lot of cards these days have 3x as a baseline on dining, as well as some with 4 or 5x back on dining. So a little bit of middle of the road there. This might be a little controversial, but I'm going to put the $300 dining credit in the S tier. Especially if you're in a major city, it seems like there are a few handful of options to be able to use these credits. And for the most part, people are going out at least a couple times a year to restaurants and dining for experiences. So I think this could be pretty easy to use. Granted, you have a restaurant near you. If you don't, this is obviously going to go very far down the list and really just used on when you're on vacation somewhere potentially. For the 3x points back on dining, putting this in the B tier just because, as I stated, there are a lot of cards that already give you some outsized value in dining higher than this, but it's kind of a bare bones base point earning category. So we're going to leave it in B here. Let me know what you think about the ranking on the dining section and if I've really missed the mark or not, but I think it could be pretty useful and pretty easy to redeem. We're going to go into something a little bit less sexy, but something that is very valuable in terms of protection. And that's with the overall travel protection in the way of trip cancellations, emergency evacuation and transportation, roadside assistance, auto rental coverage, trip delay reimbursement, baggage delay insurance, and the fact that it's accepted worldwide. And then lastly, the global entry TSA pre-check or Nexus fee credit, which is $120 every 4 years on your card. So this bucket, as well as the account security and protection bucket with zero liability protection, fraud protection and alerts, return protection, extended warranty, purchase protection, chip enabled for enhanced security and wider acceptance, and 24/7 access to exceptional customer service. I'm going to kind of lump all these together because there's something you don't really think about until something happens to you, whether you get a fraudulent charge that you need to get removed or you have some crazy trip delay and you're covered and you're protected if something goes wrong on that front. So while this bucket isn't as flashy and as valuable and something that I really factor into the effective annual fee and getting our money's worth of that $795 per year, I'm gonna go ahead and put the trip protection and account security in the A section because this is top-notch protection and insurance coverage that the Chase Sapphire Reserve presents you with. And then TSA PreCheck, I was a mix between putting it in B or C. There are just so many cards that give you this credit and this access every 4 years. But if for some reason you don't already have a card that gives you this, it's a really, really great perk and something that you can actually factor into that annual fee and getting value from this card. But a little bit split on this one. All right, we're in the last section here, which is the unlock even more section if you spend $75,000 a year on this card. This is just an outrageous amount of money to spend on a single card, especially on the personal side, but we're going to look at these features. IHG One Rewards Diamond Elite status, which is IHG's highest reward status, the $500 Southwest Airlines credit, A-list status with Southwest Airlines, and then $250 for the Shop at Chase credit. Again, all of this comes after you spend a whopping $75,000 per year on this card. And so as a result of them all being lumped together, we're going to lump them all together. Sorry, Chase, this just really feels like a big swing and a miss on giving this level of perk and these seemingly inconsequential amounts in IHG status, $500 in Southwest, A-list priority, and $250 after spending $75,000. I don't know how that moves the needle, and I don't know how many people are actually going to be hitting this. And if people out there disagree that this shouldn't be in D, I want to hear it in the comments, but I don't see how this is a needle mover or something that you can ever factor into the effective annual fee. So there we go. We see there are a lot of credits and coupons in the middle tier of this list of A, B, and C. Just a couple in S tier in my opinion, but a lot in the overall D category where I don't see myself or very many people out there getting the full benefit and the full bang for their buck on these coupons. Do you think this is a card you see yourself getting, or is it one that you're definitely going to stay away from? And let me know if you disagree completely with any of these rankings and you see them positioned elsewhere. Make sure you check out the video right here for how to maximize your Chase points if you're getting a sign-up bonus from this brand new card or you just have a reserve sitting out there. Or check out this video right here. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe for more videos just like this. Thanks so much.